Good morning, America! Welcome to another State With Your Chest podcast. If you woke up on the right side of the dirt this morning, let me get 2 chest beats and a Ric Flair. Woo! Today we got something special for you guys. We got a real important topic that we want to talk about, but first, let's introduce ourselves. This is your boy Chest Out Rudy, a.k.a. Haitian Sensation, a.k.a. Haitian Fresh, a.k.a. G.I. Joe, but just call me Chest Out Rudy.
It's your boy Chest Out Corey, a.k.a. Commercial Corey, Mr. Walking Billboard, Chest Out.
And we got a special guest as well. To my right, my boy Jordan.
Yes, sir.
How y'all
Introduce
doing?
yourself, man.
How y'all doing? I go by Jordan. You can find me on YouTube at HMBL TV, where we talk to healthy people and have healthy conversations. You can also find me at hmblfitness.blog. Go check it out.
Yo, so what you wearing, man? What you got?
Oh, this is that new Humble Fitness gear right here. It's that mindful. Just
Mindful.
yeah, man. Gotta stay mindful out here.
And you know I got that lightweight. My boy Chest Out Corey got that chest out.
I got that black and pink. Guess what month it is?
Guess what month it is?
Cancer Aware Month.
Gotta stay aware, man.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Yes, sir.
So what's on the docket today, man?
On this segment, on what's happening, we got to talk about breast cancer awareness,
Okay.
which falls on the first day of every October. It's a bittersweet month for me, Rudy.
Yeah.
Very bittersweet.
Yeah, I know.
It always causes some type of anguish. Everybody know when you're dealing with cancer, man, it doesn't have an age, doesn't have a gender or ethnicity. It doesn't even discriminate. A lot of people fall short to cancer. Millions of people every year die from cancer. Thousands by the day. Deborah Denise Williams was born September 24th, 1954. She was born in a small town called Midway, right outside of Sanford. Raised by a single mom. Met my dad at 14 years of age. He was 16. They moved to New York to Job Corps. My mom got wind that my grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer. My mom moved back to Florida from New York, and they moved back, and my grandmother wound up passing. So remember this, my grandmother passed at the age of 40-something, and my mom was only 20.
Wow.
Very young. But I want you to remember that age, okay? I had the best mom in the world. I consider my mom Wonder Woman. My mom will take care of you, all of her kids. You could have the flu, you could be sick, fever, whatever you had. But she will make sure you are taken care of so you can get back to school and do what you have to do. But at the same time, she would go to work that next day and she wouldn't complain and she'd be sick as a dog. I consider my mom insurmountable. I consider her, I felt like she could overcome anything, any obstacle, any hurdle. That's how strong she was. My mom was the type that she'd get a brand new car. I remember she gave my brother an 88, Delta 88. Once she drove him for 2 weeks, she'd give him off to a kid. Got a brand new Jetta, gave it to me. Got a brand new Central, gave it to my sister. This the type of woman that we're talking about. My mom was diagnosed with cancer at 44 years old. Remember that age I told you to remember? She was diagnosed. She worked for Seminole County Sheriff's Office for 20 years. She loved the job. She checked back in school. She enrolled to SEC, Seminole Community College, with cancer, with doing chemo, going to Gainesville every weekend, 4 or 5 days a week. And I remember getting that phone call, and this was like something that like the world just caved in on me. And because the last word that we got, let's rewind a little bit. When the day that my mom got sick and she had to go to the hospital, my brother called me up. Now, these are days after hearing my mom going through different scenarios. She had both breasts augmented, one after the next. You hear her moaning in the room, going through all her distress and everything else, but she was a very strong woman. My brother would talk to my mom 3, 4 o'clock in the morning about different scenarios. If she passes away and things happen, how would he carry on? Now, she was having conversations with my dad. My mom and dad was together, married for 29 years and together for 33 years. And she was only 46. Numbers don't lie. So my brother called me up. I was at the gym and I got a phone call and my brother said, man, get to the house. Mama can't breathe. I said, she can't breathe. He said, get to the house. She can't breathe. I'm like, bro, okay, why am I even questioning this? Let me get to the house. And I remember I got to the house, I got my mom in the car. And I remember my mom telling me, take me to my sister's job. Now, my mom had 8 other siblings. She was the youngest of, 9 siblings. What I did, I got my mom, and me and my mom argued all the way to Sanford. She was like, take me to the daycare. Drop me off because my aunt worked at the daycare. So I'm like, Mom, I'm taking you to the hospital. Going to the hospital. So I wind up, I took my mom to the daycare. And I remember my mom getting in the car, and that's the last full conversation that we had until we got to the hospital. So when I got that phone call, and I was in college at the time, I got a phone call saying get to the hospital. Now, a day prior to that, they told us my mom was coming home. She was well. She was good. They just had surgery. So they got the cancer. They removed it. So when we got there, they say, we just gave her something to calm her, and she's going to pass away in a couple hours. And I just remember we all got our chance to talk to my mom. It was a hospital full of people. And I love I want to thank all my family for coming to the hospital. April, everybody came to the hospital. And when we got to the hospital, my mom told me, she sat me down. Well, she was laying watching Jerry Springer, had my nephew in her lap, TJ. He's 20 years old now. So she's been dead 20 years. She died May 25th, 2000. So she sat down. She said, Corey, I just want you to change your life. I want you to do something. I want you to do good by yourself. I want you to be the best version of you. I know how you're straddling the fence. You're on both sides of the fence. You want to work for the government, and then you're doing all these other things. But I want you to change your life. I want you to divert yourself. So with that being said, I left the hospital because she wanted to have the last word with my dad. And I remember getting a phone call from my dad saying she's gone. So with all that being said, my mom was a powerful woman. She was strong. So I need everybody out there that knows anybody that has cancer, that been through it, like my cousin Keyshawn Knight, that's going through it right now, but she overcame it. She's a brave, beautiful black queen, and I love you for that. Go get checked. Please go get checked. It doesn't cost a lot to go get checked. So that's my story.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I think we all know or either have somebody in our family or know someone that, you know, has cancer or passed from cancer. My mom's younger sister actually passed away from cancer as well. I mean, when I grew up, I didn't grow up in Haiti. I lived there for about four years, and then I moved to the United States. But when I was in Haiti, that's basically who was taking care of us, was my mom's younger sister. And so when I moved to the United States, I didn't really know her that well, but I did have the opportunity to go back years later, go back there, and she had cancer when I went back, and she actually passed while I was in Haiti. So I got to know her a little bit better before she passed. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, cancer is a horrible disease. It's killing a lot of our women. It's very prevalent in the African American Black community as well. And we have to be able to check ourselves and, you know, get checked and make sure that this thing doesn't destroy us. It's a pretty bad disease.
And you know the scary thing about that, Rudy, it hits home. When it hits home, it hits different. Yeah. I mean, we go through our whole life not thinking, and it's not to say that we don't care about the situation, about this bad, horrible disease, but when it hits home and it hits somebody like your mom, sister, your brother, your cousin, it's effective in a negative way.
Yeah.
And the sad thing about it, 4 or 5 of her sisters and brother died from cancer too as well.
Yeah. It doesn't just, get just one person in the family. Sometimes it ravages through a few of the people in the family. So, you know, it's something that we do have to take serious, and our women need to go and get checked.
But thank God we had a strong family. We had a very powerful family. We stuck together through all situations, and we just prayed over it, and God got us through it. Yeah. So thank y'all.
What else do you have for us, Corey?
On the other hand, can we talk about the finals a little bit? Can we talk about the finals?
See, now we talking.
We talking about the Lakers. You don't believe in the Laker Nation? You're not part of Laker Nation?
No. So, again, if you woke up on the right side of the dirt,
No.
Right.
We have to talk about this.
you
We have
know-
to talk about this. We have to talk about this, bro.
But
Nation
but
for life.
you know who
Say that
won.
again?
Heat Nation for life.
Oh, so you wasn't pulling? Oh, so you couldn't pull for LeBron?
Hey, look, I like LeBron. I like LeBron a lot.
Okay, so you don't have no hate in your blood for LeBron?
Nah,
Most
I'm
people
not.
do for the wrong reasons.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm not one of those guys, but
So you're not a hater.
I'm not a hater. He's I ain't gonna say he the GOAT, but I'm gonna say he's the baddest man on the planet.
Of our generation?
Yes. Well, yeah. I'm in a different of my generation.
Yeah.
Because Kobe was the baddest man on the planet in your generation.
Yeah, in my generation. First it was Michael, and then it became Kobe. But the Black Mamba. We're going to get into that.
Before you get into that, now, with him winning a championship with Miami, winning a championship with Cleveland, and now winning a championship with the Lakers.
Well, 2 with Miami.
Well, okay, two with Miami.
Could have won 3, but
What we talking
the
about?
Mavericks.
Is he
What did Jay-Z say?
considered?
What we talking about?
The greatest of all time.
Is he now considered the greatest of all time?
All right, so y'all gonna say I'm a LeBron hater, but no, he is great. He's amazing. I'm not taking nothing away from the man.
And so let me ask you a question, just being inquisitive.
Okay.
How many more rings do you think he got with the Lakers? And you think they can do it? You think they can repeat next year?
That depends on the roster. What changes? You know what I'm saying? Didn't AD sign a 1-year deal?
He signed a 1-year deal, but he's coming back.
He'll be back.
He's going to be the face of the company of the Laker franchise in the next 2 or 3 years.
See, it's not about rings though.
I don't think I can't never rate anything on rings.
It's not about rings. The GOAT. There would be no LeBron without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, without Jordan, without those who came before. So to just say he's
The greatest of all time.
that's a stretch for me.
I mean, but you would have to say the same thing about Jordan too. I mean, he had influences as well.
big
right?
facts, big facts.
But you gotta,
what is it that makes a GOAT?
The argument I would have for LeBron that to put him in the conversation of greatest of all time is when he came back down 3-1.
that was
State.
big. That was huge.
Against the best team on the planet at that time. They went 73-9.
Warriors.
Yes. Came and LeBron came back.
Put them on their back.
Not just LeBron, because he had Kyrie, but nobody's done it by themselves. Jordan didn't even do it by himself. If we keeping it a buck.
Do you have anything more, Corey?
That's it on what's happening.
What's happening? All right. Now, let's get right into this, all right?
Okay.
Now, how many people know someone that's always complaining about the circumstance, always thinking that the world is against them, that anything that they do is for nothing? Do you know someone like that?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
What do you call that?
A victim.
A victim.
Yeah, somebody's choosing to have that victim mentality.
And that's the topic of today's conversation.
All right.
Victim mentality. Now, what do you guys know about the victim mentality?
Okay, so for me, it's a choice that people make. Okay? Now, granted, we've all been victims to certain things, some things worse than others, right? But to have a victim mentality, you are choosing to have that victim mentality. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
And it's a choice that you don't have to make. You can, tell yourself, okay, yeah, this happened, or I feel this way, but what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? One of my favorite movies, there's a quote in there. It says, truth is the only safe ground to stand upon, right?
Okay.
So for me, that means, okay, the only safe ground I have is to be honest. Honest with myself and honest with what I portray to others, right? But no matter what, when I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, only I know who I am, right? Especially if I'm choosing to have a victim mentality about certain things, about life, work, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when I look in that mirror, I know, okay, I can't stand my boss. Like, let's say I do like my boss. Boss, I like him. But what I'm saying is, if I'm complaining about work all the time, right? Well, what am I going to do to change it? Am I just going to stay in this place and be a victim of this? Or am I going to get another job? Am I going to choose to do something different?
And what I say about that is that we are basically are masters of our own fate, masters of our own decisions and choices. Yeah, but is there something deeper though than that? Because it's so easy for someone to say that, okay, this person here is just complaining because they're into that victim mentality or something to that effect. But could we dig a little deeper to see exactly what's going on with them? Because a lot of times people react differently to different situations. Like maybe that person had a trauma in their past, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they were abused or whatever it may be. Maybe they had something like that, and their way of coping with that or blocking it out is thinking that the world is against me. Okay. What do you say to somebody like that?
I go back to it being a choice, because you're right. You know, we all react to things differently, right? We all view things differently. I can read the same book as you and get a completely different viewpoint on it than you, right? But in situations, victim mentality, like situations, right? The way I react, only I can control that, okay? So I can't sit here and blame a situation in the past for why I just did something to hurt somebody else because of the situation in the present. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you don't necessarily have to hurt somebody in any kind of way, because a lot of times too, when someone has that mentality, they'll think that the world is against them, or they'll think that I'm just a bad person and I can't learn, or I'm not good enough, and that kind of thinking can eventually lead to some kind of depression. In a depression state, it's actually sometimes can be a chemical imbalance in your head.
Very true. Very true.
So while it's easy for people to say, okay, you know, you're just playing that victim's card, it could be a little harder than that for them to basically overcome. And sometimes they may need some help. Sometimes they may need people around them or surrounding them that are positive people that they can see are doing positive things that can be an influence in their life. And sometimes it can be even greater than that they need mental help, like from a therapist or something. And we all know how in the Black community, we don't do that. We don't go and seek help.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that a little bit on HMBL TV.
Yeah, you're right. We did mention it on your show. And we also mentioned it on a couple podcasts a few weeks ago, that dealing with stuff like that, mental issues in the Black community, it is considered taboo. We don't seek help. We think that we can handle everything. We think that we can overcome. We think that we try to cope with situations a lot.
Yeah, big time.
You know, we try to cope with things, but we don't always heal from them.
Well, that's why you have to look at yourself in the mirror and take accountability. And we may be coworkers, we may be on the same job, and you may get to work and it may become a problem because you may have been victimized. We talking about rape. You could have your parents could have been in prison for 25 years. You could have been in a foster home. You could have had something that really happened to you to change your life. And me being at work, I'm thinking you just complaining every single day about something different. And to be on top of that, you know, we could be inquisitive, but at the same time, I'm not going to approach you and ask you about your personal life. Have you been affected by something?
And see, that's the problem, because we can see that something's wrong with people. And another thing that we don't do, we don't ask questions. We don't ask our friend, yo, are you all right? Is there something going on?
Well,
we don't do that.
Well, some of us we try, but a lot of us, you know, ego plays a role a lot, especially with we as Black men. You know, it's something that we battle with, right? So when you ask me, hey, are you good? Like, yeah, I'm straight.
Because I may have something personal that I want to talk about. I may have something personal that I want to talk about, but I know at my job, it can be like high school sometimes. Because every friend has a friend, every best friend has a best friend. So when I tell you something, you go tell that next person, and I may have been victimized in like a real personal situation that I didn't want anybody to know, but I told you because I entrusted in you.
And that's the thing. We have to have people that we actually can trust. Like
You can say that, bro, but on the job, you don't go to job to make friends, but sometimes it happens.
And the thing about it is, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the job. I'm talking about in general. You have friends, you have family that you can confide in, or people that know you enough where they can be like, something's off right now. What's going on?
Well, even still, right? So let's say you do have the conversation, right? And somebody tells you, hey, you've given this to me, right? You're giving me this information. With this information, the way I process it is that you need to go to somebody who has more training with this, right? So like a therapist, right?
Yes.
To talk about these things. It's still at that point your choice to say, okay, if I truly want to fix this, or if I truly want to get out of this victim mentality, I need to make the decision to go to talk to somebody else about it, or I need to change the way I view it, right? Because the victim mentality is a viewpoint. I'm viewing this as I am a victim to this, and this is why I react to everything the way I do, right? So, but if you say, okay, well, I'm going to look at this differently. I was a victim. This thing did happen to me, but today is a new day, and I am able to not be a victim anymore. I can choose to use that as my power now. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And so I can use that as my power for why I'm going to accomplish these things. Now, granted, I'm not. A lot of people don't have that strong mind as to think like that, and that's why they need people around them to help reassure them, like, hey, you can do these things and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it still starts with the choice.
It does, and the thing about it though is that, like you mentioned, some people are stronger than others, and they can realize when they do need the help, and they seek the help, or they'll ask friends or what have you, and they'll be able to get the help that they need. But ultimately, you're right, and you have to be able to take over and basically conquer this thing, and know that you are basically the one that's going to be able to change. Your master of your own fate. Like, you cannot allow situations in the past to dictate who you are, what you do going forward. Absolutely. But some people, they don't see it that way, and they need to get that help to be able to come to the realization that they can overcome it, and that it's not the world that's against them.
So let me chime in. So let's say this. Growing up as a kid, right? And we talking about having that strong mindset, the mama mentality, and having that victim mentality, right? It's all about how my dad raised me. My dad raised me. He put me in a position to be a strong, diligent, working class citizen, right? So when I was growing up, when I was an infant, the first thing my dad did was just throw me in the pool and say, swim yourself out. I don't care how you get out. Get out, son. And nowadays, if you did something like that, they'll call child abuse on you. You'll wind up going to jail about something because these parents nowadays, these moms and some fathers, don't let these parents discipline their kids. So they already weak-minded. They already going through a lot of anguish, right? They're distressed about this. They're distressed about that. The world is against me and everything else. But we have to develop that over the mindset, because a lot of parents go in another situation. A lot of parents will go to work, come home, and bring that energy home. And you don't realize your kids are very receptive to all the information that you are processing when you get home. The first thing I ask my wife when she gets home, how was your day? How was it?
That can open up
a can of worms that's so serious.
But you're opening up the door for her to be able to decompress when she gets there.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. But sometimes me being subjective about giving her my personal opinion can be bad. Because now we're going back and forth conversing about certain situations, and it doesn't sound like she's complaining, but she's telling you about her work day, which is normal to her and her mom, or her and my daughter. But when it comes to me, I look at it as it's a victim mentality.
Well, we as I'm very similar to you.
Okay.
Very similar to you.
Talk to me.
The first thing we want to do, and I don't know if this is a male trait or if this is
It's a male trait. Yes.
We want to solve the problem.
We want to stop. Exactly.
Right. So that's what we go to.
Nip it in the butt.
Yeah. When my girl comes home and she tells me something happened, right? Or something, she's going through something, whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, what's the solution? Boom, 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 boom. And that's how my mind works, right? She's not thinking about the solution. She's just telling me what the problem is. She'll probably figure it out on her own. She don't want to hear my solution right away.
No,
right?
because when you do that's almost like a caveman mentality.
Exactly.
So what she's telling you, she wants you to hear her out. She wants you to hear the problem. So she don't want you to solve the problem. She wants to vent.
Yes.
But it happens one day, it's okay. 2 days. But when it happens every week, week in and week out, to me, you become victimized. And so what happens, you pass these traits off to my daughter. She passed it off to the next generation. So it goes from me just complaining about my work day, because what I tell her, those same people at the job, they're not even thinking about you right now at all. So you have to remember, when you come home, you got to find some type of way to suppress that energy. I don't care if you go work out, jump in the pool, some type of exercise.
You mean release it?
Well, what did I say?
Suppress.
I said suppress.
Yeah, you don't want to suppress it.
Well, you don't want to suppress it, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you suppress something, you know what I'm saying, you're getting rid of it for the moment.
You're bottling it in. You don't want to like bottle it.
Because the job is not going anywhere. Those problems are not going anywhere.
I think the best word to use here is not suppress, but it is to compartmentalize.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
So, and I got a homeboy. He had a great analogy for this one time. We were just talking about relationships and everything like that, right? And how men and women we view things differently. And I know we talk about the victim mentality, and that could be men or women.
Yes.
But men, we have a better way of being able to compartmentalize things, right? So like, I'm upset about this particular thing, right? And I'm only upset about this. And I'm a waffle, right?
Okay.
So with a waffle, the syrup goes into the little
compartments,
nooks and crannies.
Yes.
Right? And a lot of women, their viewpoint, and women are gonna hate me after this. Like, don't have me back on the show. But
leave your comments, like, subscribe.
They're more pancake-ish, right? And the syrup.
Wow, so you calling the women
pancakes? Is you calling me waffles?
Is that what we doing right now?
Is that your analogy, bro? No, but go ahead.
But yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is like the syrup, it spreads on the pancake. So now it's like everything
just rolls off.
Exactly. Everything is a problem. This is a problem. You're right.
You're making me a part of this problem right now.
I'm about to be a part of it too.
Yeah. Okay.
But I say that to say, either way, waffle, pancake, right? You got to choose to get rid of that syrup some kind of way, right? You were talking about releasing it, right? So whether that be going to the gym, whether that be, if you're a musician and you go play music, you find a way to deal with the issues or whatever. But when it becomes too much, you can't be afraid to go talk to somebody, whether that be your best friend or whether it be somebody like a therapist or something like that.
And that's what she's coming to you, Corey. You're her best friend and she's releasing it.
I am my wife's best friend. But you know what? I agree with you 100%. She is my best friend, and we talk about everything. And I think you should vent. I think you should get certain things off your chest, but I think people do it in different situations. But even with my wife, we could turn the tables. I have fell in that dark hole before myself. But I think it's okay that we can become victims for 2.2 seconds, release that energy, let it go. Because it's been times that in life, and this happened a couple weeks ago, right? I went through my situation. We dealing with manufacturers and stuff like that, and everything falling through the cracks and crevices, and we going through situations with not home life, but just personal issues with family and stuff like that. It's affecting me because everybody look at me like I'm this, I'm that, but we are all only human, right? Absolutely. So with that being said, my wife came home one day and my demeanor was different, and the morale was down a little bit. I mean, because when she comes home, I'm asking her about her day and stuff like that, and she felt like something was off. So she asked me like, and my wife has a type A personality and one of the strongest women I know. That's why when she come home with these situations, I'm like, baby, you the strong one. Yeah. But I forget sometimes that women sometimes could be sensitive, right? We all can be sensitive in situations. And at the end of the day, they wear their emotions on their sleeve. So when they talk about it, that's how they release that.
Exactly.
Release that energy, right?
And they just want you to listen.
They just want you to listen. They don't want us to talk because what happens, this is what my wife tells me. When I say something, when I interject and I say something to her, she says, you're not being my best friend right now. Or you're not on my side right now.
Or you're not listening.
Or you're not listening right now.
Exactly.
You gotta listen, Corey.
And the conversation changed. But I'm the type of person when I go through that situation and she sits me down and gives me that lecture, I realized the next day I had to get up. I got turned down by 4 or 5 manufacturers. One fell through the cracks. I need to make 20 more phone calls. When I went through a situation with a friend, I had to mend that friendship. I had to be the bigger person because sometimes God might not be testing that person. God might be testing me. So in different scenarios, you just have to realize with that victim mentality, it's okay to fall suit to it every now and then, but you have to be able to come out of that situation with your head up and your chest out.
Okay.
So let's expound on that, right? On the pancake and waffle.
Okay, so we know that Jordan thinks women are waffles. I'm sorry. He thinks women are pancakes.
Okay.
Ladies, I love y'all.
Ladies,
I love y'all.
He didn't say pancake butts. He said pancakes. He said things need to flow off. But the flip side of that, Rudy, the only bad thing about that, men, by being waffles, if we sit there and pour the syrup on the actual waffle, we hold that energy. We hold that. And we'll sit there with that energy for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll blow up.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we belligerent, we warlike, and everything else.
Yep.
And a woman, they come home every single day, and they just want to release that. They just want to talk to their man or their significant other or whoever, their mom, dad, cousin, whoever, and just release that energy. So I understand both sides of it.
Yeah. And that's very unhealthy for us.
For us as men.
Yeah.
But that's to me, that's that caveman mentality.
for some reason, I'm hungry right now. You guys talking about waffles and pancakes.
Man, where are the bars at? Where's the best bars in America?
Where are my Ronnie Coleman bars
Man,
at?
listen, during times like this here, you need to do a Ronnie Coleman bar. The best bars in America.
Ladies, I love y'all. Just remember that.
So, men, get it off your chest and stop holding things in. Go talk to somebody.
So someone comes up to you, a friend that you know, or whatever, and you know that they have that mentality, and they're coming to you because obviously they see that you're successful, that you got a good career, or you're retired and you got your own business, and they're coming to you because they want something like that. They want to feel that way. What do you tell them?
It'll behoove me if I don't go ask that person and try to figure out what's going on. I need to find out in depth what is going on with my friend, or what's going on with this associate, this guy that he or she that I may talk to every single day, that I may know the way their mood changes, the way they conversate, their demeanor on a day-to-day basis and stuff like that. But I'm the type of person, I have great energy. I'm the same type of person every day. So if I get around that person and we spending 2 or 3 days together, or we at work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we can have conversations about this.
But one thing you don't want to do is tell them that they're, taking on the victim mentality.
No, you don't want to use victim with victim mentality. You don't want to tell a person that they have a victim mentality, but you need to have them understand what they're going through and ask them the why. Like, why are you having these issues?
I like what you just said right there. You need to have them understand what it is they're going through. Get them to get an outside view of whatever the problem is. Because to answer your question, what you were saying about if they're coming to you saying, oh, you're successful and everything, and they want that, but they're coming to you asking you for help with it, right? My first response to that would be just get started. Right? But if there's an issue in the way, there's a roadblock there, and it's this victim mentality, we'll address that.
Now
I like
people
that.
will have that kind of mentality on a lot of things in their life, right? But we need to also point out things that they're good at. Let's talk about things that you're good at, like things that
I agree.
or things that you may be exceptional at.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
you're not a victim to everything.
But let me chime in. The brain, this is how the brain works. I may do something 1,000 times a day, right? I may do 999 good things today. And I may have that one offset, that one bad thing that I do. What you think I'm going to remember mostly that day?
You're going to think about the negative thing, the bad thing.
And see, it's not a mental thing. That's just the way our brains are programmed.
And you know what?
And that's a scientific fact.
Winning, right? Let's say you're a basketball player. You played sports, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm a true athlete.
Like winning at any situation is a great thing, right?
Yes.
And we loved it. We'll celebrate it. We're happy. But when we lose or something goes wrong, that pain is, to me, is so much more bad than winning is good.
No, but
to me.
But let me say this here. And we give kids that victim mentality at a young age. What we will do, both teams lose. I mean, one team loses. One team gets second place, one gets first. We give both team trophies.
I disagree with that completely. Yeah.
What? So you think you?
No.
Yes. Okay. So we on the same.
Oh yeah.
So,
I don't like that at all.
But that's how we create that victim mentality. That's how we create that.
It has to do with the law of attraction, though, too, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go to a therapist, right? A therapist is going to do what you mentioned before. He or she is going to put the problem out in front of you. They're going to let you sit there and talk, right? They're going to let you sit there and vent. Explain it all, right? They're going to sit there. You're going to talk.
Great listeners.
Exactly, right? Now the problem's out in front of you. You just mentioned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just told me what's going on. Now, okay, the therapist is going to then try to help you find a solution to it,
mm-hmm.
right? But he's going to let you find a solution. He's not going to have the answer for your solution. You're going to have it. And then he's also going to do what you were just mentioning about, for example, winning, right? So what positives can we come from this, right? Okay, so I want you now to focus on those positive things and the law of attraction, right? So we become what we think about. We manifest, what we put out, right? So if I'm constantly thinking I can't do it, I'm not gonna be able to do it, right? But if I put in my mind, I'm gonna do this. I can do this. Positive
Facts.
things. I'm gonna receive that. It might not be every time, and it might not be the exact way I want it, but in one way or another, it's going to manifest itself.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
You have to program yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel like you don't have the power to control your circumstances, it's good for someone to ask you, okay, if you had that power, what would you do? So, and then you can brainstorm, things of what you could do to actually solve the situation. Mm-hmm. So you're actually working together to come with a solution, and you're helping that person on basically getting a solution for that problem.
Yep.
So they're working to get their own solution.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario, right? We grew up in a very impoverished area, right? Very poor community. Beautiful community, but poor. We grew up with the rats, the roaches, spiders. You had to check your cereal before you ate your cereal. And cold winters, you had to have 4 blankets on and stuff like that, right? So we had to succumb to those situations, my parents. And my parents were very nomadic. So we got to a point in life that my parents just started moving all over the place. Once we left Midway, we moved all over the place in Sanford.
Right.
And then we got to a point we moved to 1433 Drysdale in Deltona. My parents was the type, they'd rob Peter to pay Paul. My parents was the type, they'd get paid on Friday and they'd go to the neighbor and borrow $50 just to make sure their family was taken care of. My parents never had that victim mentality. My parents were the type that if they felt the situation, they'll ask for it. My parents felt some type of way because at the end of the day, you got to remember something. You got to walk by faith and not by sight, right? And when you're going through certain situations in life, you have to look to God and give God all praise and say, you will get me through this. Every obstacle, every hurdle, every dark spot in life, God will get me through it. So with that being said, my parents could have easily fell victim to the situation and just let everything just fall apart. But at the end of the day, my mom died at 46 years of age, had 3 kids. All 3 of her kids are successful because of her mama mentality. I'm going to say that again. with my parents being strong, with mom being strong, with my dad being strong as they are, we already grew up with the mama mentality. So we already knew at the end of the day, there would be no shortcomings for us. We had to be diligent. We had to work. We had to show our kids. We had to push them forward, push the envelope, move mountains. So like I said before, you got to make sure that I pass this information off to my daughter pass it off to her grandkids and to the next generation. And we keep this thing going. But as parents, we come home, we have that victim mentality like we said before. We talking to our kids and we saying things around our kids, and our kids pick those things up.
They do.
We can't pay our bills today. They arguing about different situations, and mom calling dad this, dad calling mom this. And before you know it, we going through a situation.
Okay, just put it like this. Some people were able to do more with less, right? So
yes,
we all come from wherever we come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
But somebody comes from a worse situation than maybe you, right? But they were able to make it to this here, right? Somebody might come from a worse situation than them, but they were able to make it here, right? Now this all stems on how you view what you view as success, right? Because we all have a different view of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how those people got to where they got to in the area of success that they deemed successful, then they got there by doing something different than what, because we could all fall subject to that victim mentality and stay the same, right? Because that's what it's going to do. It's going to keep you in the same spot. You could be a victim your whole life and you can stay in the same spot your whole life. Ain't nobody's going to come to save you, but if you want something different, then you gotta do different. You gotta
and see. I live every day.
What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Exactly. So if you want something different, you have to do something different.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So we're coming to a close here. Do you have anything that you want to actually say to the people that's listening to us?
I just want to say once again, take my L's. Turn all my L's into W's. Let's not downplay this situation. It's really real. If you feel like you are a victim, you may need to reach out and talk to somebody that's positive. Put yourself around positive individuals. And that's why they say birds of a feather flock together. And I know who you are by the company that you keep. So if I feel like I'm going through something, I'm going to call up that friend that I know that could put me back in that right perspective, that'll put me in that good mood. Because misery loves company.
They do.
You take two negative people and they can talk negative all day long. Let's get rid of the victim mentality. It's people that's been victimized. So let's stop crying wolf. It's people that's been raped. Parents left them. That's been through hell and back, that are real victims, but they are able to understand the difference between being victims and going through something. So if you're going through something, you may need to go talk to somebody, get some professional help. And with that being said, go to chestoutsports.com and get you some Chest Out Sports apparel.
So
you got anything to say, Jordan?
Yeah, I just want to repeat this saying, and whoever's listening, maybe you take it with you. Truth is the only safe ground to stand upon. So the first thing you have to do is start being truthful with you internally. It's all in your mind. You don't even got to say the words out loud. But when you go look in that mirror, understand who you are, understand where you come from, but also have a plan for where you're going, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Mm-hmm. And there's some people who've heard that their entire lives, that you can't. So it might be ingrained, but you can do anything that you choose. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. And I just want to leave people with that. Go to hmblfitness.blog for more conversations like this, and HMBL TV at YouTube for healthy conversations with healthy people. That's all I got.
And I'm going to leave it like this. We are masters of our own fate, and we can do anything that we put our minds to. So I know sometimes things can be difficult, but like I'm going to echo what my colleagues here said. Things can be difficult, but you can pull yourself out of it. If you need to talk to somebody, seek some help. Surround yourself with positive people, because these positive people have been through things. They've been through hell and back as well, trust me. And they were able to overcome those things, and that's what makes them strong. And if that's not enough and you need more, seek professional help. Go to a therapist, and they can help you out with this situation. But this is the end of the show today.
Ladies, I love y'all.
Pancakes and waffles.
All right. Let me get 2 chest beats and a Ric Flair.
Because my actions mine. All facts, no capping. Lie. Wake up, stop napping. Wise, get up, it happens. Try, that's just a fraction. Pop, I don't stop trapping. Try.